Okay, I am in the middle of gnat wars right now. I've tried a lot of things to take care of the gnats in all of my plants that I have on 3 floors, including the basement. And so I have gone through so many different solutions. I think I have finally found the solution that I want to use. Now, you know that I've mentioned using the hydrogen peroxide. I've used fungicide in my plants. Cinnamon water, we've used some of that. I've even brought out some of the big guns. My plant zapper, I had that on for a few hours just to try and see how it worked. That one's really too big for the tiny gnats, but when I heard a little zap every now and then, it sure made me feel good. I have worked at catching them on the plant traps. The plant traps will get the adults that are flying around and prevent them from laying eggs in the moist soil. But what I have finally decided that I would bring out the big guns, and this is what I've decided to use. It's a systemic granule insect control. Now this is something, it's made by Bonide, and I ordered mine from Amazon, and this protects against damaging insects. It lasts, it says, for up to 8 weeks. And it is something that you mix into the soil. It takes care of a lot of bugs. I've got it back on the blog post. Aphids, mealybugs, fungus gnats, all kinds of bugs. Well, I should be saying insects that are on your plants. Even the armored scale insect. I don't think it's listed to work on the soft scale insects, but the hard scale, the armored scale. But the way you use this, it gives you a chart. For instance, if you have a container that's 1 gallon, you need 2.5 tablespoons. Now, most of mine fall under the 1 gallon. I have a few very large plants that fall into the higher range. But what I do, I purchased a separate little thing at the thrift store so that this does not get mixed up with my kitchen utensils. We are working with an insecticide that's poison. The particular insecticide, I'll put the name up here at the top. It's an insecticide that's derived from nicotine. It is one of those ones that you don't want to use outside. Now, I would not use this outside because it's damaging to insect populations, and it's going to kill the insect, whether it is a good one, a bad one, a neutral one. And it can harm the bees, so I don't want to use it inside. But there's no bee population inside my house to protect. These are going to be indoor house plants, and I don't have any integrated pest management in my house. I don't release bugs inside my house to try to defeat the other bugs. So what you do is just pour these granules. You can see what they look like. It's very fine. It almost seems like sugar. It's that light. And of course, you have to practice safe handling as you would any insecticide. But you just measure the amount you'd need, and you just have to do the math. You look at your plant and decide that it is about 1 quart of soil in it, and then for 1 quart of soil you'd use roughly, what would that be? The tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. Then I would use only a quarter of that, which would be about like 1.5 teaspoons, something in that range, to mix into that. So let me show you how I put that into the soil. Now I've calculated, for the purposes of planting in this terrarium, I'm going to put about a quart of soil in it. So if the treatment for a 1-gallon container is 2.5 tablespoons, then what I'm going to do when I put a quart of soil in here, that would be what I would use. Now, since this is going to be mixed into the soil so it's taken up by the roots of the plant, then that's roughly going to be about 1.5 teaspoons. So I'm going to take a bit of this. There's a teaspoon. And there's a 1/2 teaspoon. And I'm just mixing that in. Now let me get, okay, now down in here, I'm going to take all those granules and just work them into the top half of the soil. Now, if you already have a plant planted in here, you would just have to work around the outer edges and get everything incorporated into the soil so that it'll be there for the roots to take it up. So I've got that all mixed in, and this will be ready to plant a plant. Now in this particular terrarium, I can, for instance, do my baby tears that are growing in this pot and put them down in that terrarium. And then when they grow, the uptake through their roots will protect them from the fungus larvae. But that would be how I would do it. For instance, this one, I have already sprinkled. This was a tiny one. I would call it a pint. So it would only take about 3/4 of a teaspoon. But I have already incorporated that into it. And then you water the plant, and when that goes on down into the soil, it incorporates into the soil, goes through the roots and into all areas of the plant, and will protect it from the fungus gnat. I treated mine about, it's been a little bit more than a month, and I have noticed a big reduction in the amount of gnats that have infested the house, because they were just getting so irritating when they flew around, got in your face, flew around the dinner table. So I'm hoping to have a gnat-free house for Thanksgiving. But remember, this is a poison. It's not to get mixed in your water, like a pond or anything like that that you use. And then again, I'm not going to use this outside because it does kill most all insects, especially the beneficial ones. We don't want to kill them. So I would stop this about 6 weeks, like my last application would be about 6 weeks before any of my plants are due to go out in the springtime. But this is working for me. If you're tired of battling the gnats and want to try and win the gnat wars, try some of this. But thanks for joining me today, and I hope this is a solution that might work for you.